All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Racers News Network Live. We are going to be wrapping up the Mid Atlantic Super Series season for 2025 and maybe even get a little sneak peek of what's going on for 2026. But before we do that, I got a couple of things to say. First off, I want to say thank you to Jamie Blake for helping me out doing some work on my car, and also to my employer for taking me back from everything that happened the end of 2024. I got the phone call today. They are welcoming me back in December with open arms. I just have to get my letter from my neurologist, and I'll be finally back to work. It's been a long 10 and a half months. Been driving everybody a little bit crazier than normal. Right, Pete?
The only issue is if you get a letter from your neurologist, don't they have to prove you have a brain?
No, that's been given up a long
Okay,
time
all right, just
ago.
checking.
No, anybody that knows me knows that that's been a question for many, many years. But um, down at the bottom of at least my screen, anyway, is our guest for this evening. And of course, I'm talking about Robert Keister from Mid Atlantic Super Series. Talk about what's going on. And with that being said, I am going to pass it over to Pete.
Wow, I don't even get an introduction, Rob. I can tell
Uh,
you rank a lot higher than me.
yeah, trust me, that totem pole ain't too high. Trust me. So,
How are
Please,
you, my
everybody,
friend?
welcome Pete Sankett to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Glad to be here.
All two of you.
I'll be,
How are you, Rob?
I'm great. How's everybody doing tonight?
All good here. And Chris is full of good news, so you know he's happy.
Oh yeah, he gets to go back to
And
so.
and how about shout out to your wife too, that's doing really good after her surgery.
Yes, and she had surgery on her back finally. She was supposed to have it back in January, February, basically, and with everything that went on with me, it had to be postponed. So she had it 2 weeks ago yesterday, and she's already doing much, much better. So she's looking forward to getting back to work, believe it or not.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
So, Rob, we're going to start with a very basic question.
Sure.
2025, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate your racing season?
Um, the racing season itself, I would say about an 8. Um, you know, I never. I'm the type of person who will never give myself a 10 or 11 or 12 because I always know that there's room for improvement no matter what you do. We expanded a little bit this year when it come down to classes.
Yeah.
Um, we just had this discussion off air, and it's something I think that we dive into a little bit later on today. After we get over our results and stuff about the amount of classes that are brought to a track. Um, but we went from having basically 5 classes, which was all your .90 classes,
Yeah.
and then we had what we called the top 32, which was a combination of your 16 fastest top dragster and your 16 fastest top sportsman, and they would run, separately until the final when your top dragster would run your top sportsman guy for, the trophy and all that stuff. And everybody kind of wanted to see it separated. They didn't want to see, so we did like, the normal, groups do. So you had a separate top dragster and a separate top sportsman series, separate champions and all. And then, 2024 was a test run for the Stock Super Stock series, after Dave Lay retired with the East Coast Stock Super Stock series, and ACO, of course, closed down. That Dave kind of relinquished the realm to me to take it over. We did a test run through Cecil County in 24, and then 2025 we added it to our series. So we ended up having 7 classes total after it was said and done. So, but I mean, there's room for improvement in any any
Oh,
series you have. I mean,
yep.
it's I don't care, promoter, track owner, if you're not finding things for you to improve upon, or it was, then and you might possibly be doing something wrong. So, I mean, there's always a list at the end of the year that I look down and I say, what could we do better? What rules could we change? And such. And that's one thing I always do is I reach out to all my racers. Everybody has a survey at the end of the year, and it's a silent survey. None of it gets, delve out to anybody. We're not, oh my God, did you see what Pete Sanka said about, whatever? It's all, and everybody can, as long as you're a paying member in that racing season, you have your voice to, say, hey, you know what? I was at, Mason-Dixon. I got screwed over on this thing, and I would like to see you guys possibly change this rule for 2026.
Yep.
And, because
I like it.
And what I say, what I talk with Dana all the time is, and stuff is that, yes, I mean, I'm the president. She's the vice president. We have staff that's with us and stuff too. But at the end of the day, the word association is on the end of that, series. I mean, it says Super Series now, but it's always the Mid Atlantic, .90 Association or whatever it is. An association to me is if you're a paying member, if you're paying, $85 or $100 to be a member for that year, you should have a voice to,
Right.
say. And my thing is, having a voice to actually come and talk to me.
Yep.
So I think social media has ruined a lot of relationships, and social media has ruined a lot of friendships, and it also has ruined racing, relationships. Because
it's given a lot of people courage that face to face they normally wouldn't have.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, if you don't feel comfortable coming to talk to me face to face about a situation that's going on at the racetrack that I can't solve right then and there, then I'm not doing my job correctly. And for you to go on a, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday after an event and go on social media, it just to me just feels like you're kind of a little bit of a slap in the face. So that's, but like I said, everybody always has a voice. Everybody can always say whatever they want to say. And that's why we have, a survey at the end of the year for you to, voice your opinion. So
we always know Cecil County, right? Cecil County is an amazing track. The owner's great. The food is good. The ice cream is cold. It's a great place. A lot of people were very happy with Mason-Dixon in 2024. And I assume that a lot more people visited this year and liked it equally as much.
Cecil actually was a great car count for us. What we did was, I spoke with some of the stock super stock guys, and they're the type of guys who are counting their runs on their cars, and how many runs do they have on a motor and stuff, and they don't want to, they want to course chase the NHRA stuff, or now with IHRA coming out, or they want to chase that stuff, so they look at it and says, we only want to put 90 runs on our motors for the year, so your series is a good place for us to go race, but we don't want to run all 8 races or all 10 races that you have. So we actually, the first race that we had was at Mason-Dixon, and with the NHRA schedule not starting till Memorial Day weekend this past year, I mean, yeah, you could have went to Charlotte, or you could have went to somewhere else, where there went into a national event, but the NHRA Division 1 schedule didn't start until Memorial Day weekend at Maple Grove. So it kind of opened a lot of stuff for people to come and play. And, we worked out a thing with Mason-Dixon to actually rent the track the Friday leading up to our first event. So
Nice.
we 35 guys who jumped on the test and tune. And it was from, I believe it was from 10 to 4. It did get delayed a little bit. I think they had a problem with an ambulance. The ambulance wasn't there on time, so it ended up getting delayed for like an hour or two until they got a paramedic there, which you have to, for you to race, you have to have one here. So we, like I said, we basically, when it come down to it, we had a decent car count for there. We end up losing Saturday because it was raining. Rain seemed to follow us at all 4 weekends that we had this year. It was either the races got delayed, or we got canceled. And,
Yep.
We lost the Saturday race at Mason-Dixon because of rain. Sunday we got in. We had a decent car count for that. Still struggled with cars, coming out there. And a lot of it, I think, is just because of the distance for a lot of people to go out to Mason-Dixon.
Sure.
And they look at the weather. They see like a Saturday, not looking too hot. I don't,
The first half of the year, I don't think we had one good weekend that looked good, that was forecasted good. It was a friggin' disaster.
Yeah, yeah. And then we went to Cecil the weekend before the Maple Grove Divisional. Friday was a rain out for their test and tune, and Saturday was supposed to be clear. Ended up raining all day Saturday morning. Luckily enough, Jimmy was kind enough for us. He looked at how many cars he had. I think we had him at 240 cars, I think, total between everything it was, and he ended up working hard with his staff. They dried the track. Unfortunately, just had a little bit of weepers here and there, so we did the safe thing. We went 8th mile, so we lost probably about 40 cars or so that didn't have an 8th mile type tune up, whatever it was. And then Sunday we ran quarter mile and stuff, and then we took a good couple months off and end up running at Cecil County for the Uncle Buck Pig Roast, which is one of Chris's favorite events. And I believe we had almost another 200 plus car count on that weekend. And fortunately, we finished up late. I think it was like almost 9 o'clock, I think, by the time we got done that. So I actually did the whole entire pig roast. Luckily enough, we hired that was actually Caitlin Gunther's first event with us, who does an awesome job. We hired her to start doing photos for us. And if you have never seen Caitlin's photos, they're just awesome. I mean, she gets the action shots. She gets the shots in the lanes and stuff with people and stuff. And she was actually running around and getting me a plate of food so I could eat while I was pairing cars in the lane. So,
cool.
So I ended up missing the pig roast, which kind of sucked. But we had another good car count on that weekend at Cecil. And then 2 weeks ago at Mason-Dixon, it was, once again, we got rained out on Saturday. We got one round of competition in, and we were halfway through our junior program. And the juniors, I mean, they showed up big time. We had 61 juniors at the last race at Mason. So we, got halfway through the second round of juniors, and it rained, and it just never stopped until that night. And then Sunday morning, we finished it up and crowned our champions, and it was a nail biter all the way down to the end in a lot of classes. So
awesome. Well, hopefully, it seems like Mason-Dixon is working out for you guys. If you could just catch a break and get some nice weather so that you could enjoy the weekend, that would be nice.
Yep. Yeah, we're hopefully planning on going back there again next year. I'm not sure if we're going to do 2 weekends again the next year at Mason. Because it's one of those things where you got to bring cars to an event, because the overhead for these track owners anymore is so much that they just can't they can't be giving you a weekend for only having 50 cars show up.
Right.
And that's the thing is, and they got to see, by the time they look at overhead and stuff like that, it people who own businesses got to understand where they come from or work for such. And a lot of it is, you look at the way the world is right now, and I'm not political or anything, but that, minimum wage now is whatever, $14, $15 an hour. These track owners have to pay that minimum wage. They can't be like, hey, we're going to pay you $6 or $7 or whatever it is, whatever it is. They got to pay that $15, $16. Glue right now is probably $1,500 a barrel, I think it is. And how many you go through in a weekend, and then just if you wanted to turn on the lights, if just wear and tear, maintenance on things, it all adds up where it was. And the little $50, $60 they collect at the gate, if you're not getting the car count that shows up, they're looking at a loss by the end of the weekend. And then when 26 comes around, you go, hey, can I get 2 weekends or 3 weekends? They're gonna be like, yeah,
Right.
can't give you anything unless you start, bringing more cars.
Right.
And then of course you bring more cars, and then the people who have been loyal to you for many years get pissed off because now it's like, well, now we got 8 classes with us, and it's
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I get. Nope, we lost him. He'll be back. But I can relate to what Rob is saying because, like we were talking before we went on, the guys that I helped for the No Time No Rules, I mean, they basically had their 4 classes, and while they put on a great show, they weren't physically big enough to keep the track hot all day and keep management content with what was coming in. So they had to start adding index classes and then bracket classes and stuff just to keep the track happy. Because like Rob said, it's a business, and at the end of the day, if the track doesn't make a profit, they're not going to ask you to come back. And it's a numbers game. Rob, I was just talking about how we were talking before we came on about how I help out with the No Time No Rules race, and how the track manager Wayne basically told them that you got to get more cars on the property. So that's when we started adding classes, and I mean that's direct from the track. It's not Ralph and Scott waking up one morning and saying everything's great, but we want more. It was a matter of the manager of the track calling them and saying, listen, guys, if we want to keep the weekend event like you guys have, we got to get more cars going down the track. We got to get more cars on the property. So I know exactly what you're saying when you're talking about car count. You got to have it, or the track can't justify giving up the real estate for you.
Yeah, and that's exactly.
Sorry, give me just one sec, Rob. As a competitor, past, present, whatever, does being involved with that and now seeing the other side of it give you a little bit better perspective?
If I'm being completely honest with you, I started getting a lot better perspective of it when Rob and I got closer and we started doing these interviews and stuff and talking. I've become way more friendly with Wayne over the last 4 or 5 years. And then being involved with Scott and Ralph for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, I mean, listen, anyone who has half a brain knows that it's a business. So it's just a matter of if you're going to take the track's word for it that they're making or not making money. Once you get involved with the promotion end of the deal or get friendly with the people that do, and they share some info for you, yeah, it's. I won't say I'm surprised because you always knew that it's just a certain number of cars have to come through the door, and a certain number of spectators have to come through in order to pay for the overhead, like Rob was talking about with minimum wage going up, glue going up. Everything. I mean, if you think about all the stuff they own, propane, tires for the rotator, food for concessions. I mean, you name it, everything has gone up. And it's really, we like to think of this sport as something special, but at the end of the day, no matter how much it warms our hearts to do it, it's still a numbers game. These guys don't run on unicorns and magic. They run on money. And they have to make it, otherwise they're going to stop doing it.
Right, Rob.
No, I mean he hits the point right on top of the head there when it comes down to it. It's a business. I mean, I know we all look at it and I know we all gripe and complain when we look at NHRA and we say, oh my God, they raised the entry fee for a division race up to $25 or such, or it was. It's because the overhead is so large anymore. Yeah. That that it hurts, stuff. And then what happens is, I mean, trust me, I've said this to a few people. I would love to go back to just having 3.90 classes. It would be,
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah,
less
yeah,
fear
right.
if it was just, if it was
None of
just,
us want to work any harder than we have to get the job done,
yeah,
right? Like I said, you didn't wake up one morning and say, things are going great with 3 classes, but I wonder what would happen if I added 5 more.
yeah,
You would love to be able to cater to the meat and potatoes of your organization that you started with from the ground up and you've been with forever. But at the end of the day, if you kept tunnel vision and that's all you did, you probably wouldn't be invited back to any tracks. And that's the reality of it.
yeah. And that's what we're trying to do, at least for 2026, is that we're trying to look into other avenues, maybe teaming up with other promoters that are out there that, some of these tracks that, some of these guys, some of these people want to go back to.
Sure.
We would love to get back into Maple Grove. Just the problem with that is just they look at it as, not so much the $50 or $60 that you pay at the front gate. They want it to make it as a rental, which,
Right.
helps them out because technically they don't care if you get 2 cars or that you get,
No, their money's guaranteed. Right.
they're getting a flat fee. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, whatever that is. So at the
Sure.
end of the weekend, hey, you're writing a check over for X amount of dollars.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you lost your rear end or not. You signed that contract to, basically be, a track rental, for them. And
Right.
if we're looking at it as, okay, the 7 classes that we have, are we getting enough cars that would justify a rental at a facility such as it was? And, technically it's not there for us. So
Right.
we're kind of looking into, maybe teaming up with a different promoter, somebody who has something else going on that maybe they're kind of just barely getting by,
Right.
when they do their weekend, to kind of be like, hey, let's team up, let's see what we can do. We come and we offer, X amount of dollars that comes into the gate. You come,
Sure.
you have X amount. So that at the end of the weekend, we're we're not looking to make, a bazillion dollars here, but we're
Right.
not looking at least enough to pay, for some gas in our vehicles to get there
Yeah.
and such. So,
Or more importantly, just not lose money would be great.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I did the Dave Stein race for 3 years at Maple Grove, and you look, I there was a post on Facebook today from a wife of a guy, Trevor Larson, who won the world championship in 23 in Super Gas, I believe,
Yeah.
saying about doing a big money .90 race, and
I saw
everybody,
that.
everybody
Yeah.
starts. They're just like, oh, just check with Rob Keister, and he'll tell you all about, like, Rose. And hey, uh, if somebody wants to try it, hey, all for it. You know what?
Right.
But just, because maybe you have a different idea, or maybe you can get bigger sponsors on board that would help you pay for that rental,
Right.
such. But it's a very tough nut to crack. And if you think you're going to, you know, come out with, the Brinks truck, following behind your truck, with your truck and trailer at the end of the weekend,
Right.
you're it's unfortunately not going to happen. I mean, yes, there are some very successful promoters out there who hit a home run every single time that they race, or it was they have an event, a spring flings. I mean, but if you see what Peter and Kyle had went through in the first couple of years of the spring flings, they lost their rear ends on it.
Right.
But they built it to where they built it up. They made it to where it is. That's a very successful, thing now, where, basically Peter doesn't work for Biondo anymore. He's doing his own thing. He's Mr. Spring Flings now, with Kyle being gone, unfortunately. But that's the thing. And when Peter isn't helping out with, the spring fling stuff, he's, up at New Media, helping the Domino family with their events, because Sal, his brother's kind of, helping out up there too with the Dominos. So, I mean, they're involved in racing stuff, and they know how to run races. So, but there's tracks we're looking at for next year. I don't really know exactly. A lot of it's right now is just waiting to see what the NHRA schedule looks like.
Right.
Really what it comes down to. Like
That's usually around PRI time, if I'm not mistaken.
usually Vegas. Usually Vegas is usually when it's
Oh,
usually
the Vegas national event.
yeah, the Vegas National and weekend after is the division race or was so usually that week up to it, leading
Right.
up to the division race, the divisional gets released. So then you can kind of, start hopefully, hitting tracks that,
Filling in the blanks.
and pray that they haven't been sucked up by, somebody because of course they got their own events going on. And then with losing tracks, it doesn't help, because now you have everybody who used to run at ACO, or used to be a promoter in ACO, now is all trying to find, their niche and, hey, let's try out Cecil County. Let's try out let's try out Maple Grove and have an event there. And then, that sucks up a weekend and
Yep.
can't, fortunate part is you can't put a weekend on, you can't put one of our type of races on top of a division race because we all know where people are going to go. It's, I mean, you'll have some of your loyal guys who will come and support where it was, but for the most part, everybody's going to go to a division race. So, it's, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, nobody knows what's going on with Virginia yet. If it's staying, going, whatever. We gain MIR, which is a great track to go to. So now it's like, hey, I listened to your conversation with Steve Rhodes a couple weeks back, and it's like, are we going to have more doubles? Are we going to have, or is it going to be, more national opens? Are we going back to singles? I mean, personally, I would love to have doubles all the time. That's just
right.
It works around my work schedule beautifully to have to take 4 or 5 weekends off to get 8 races in.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a racer out there that isn't a fan of the double. I don't think there's an NHRA employee that is a fan of the double. I mean, it's got to be pure torture for them, especially when you get into the July, August heat and dry and humid and no rain and
I know
they just work. They work.
Monday after a Saturday Sunday race where I can't imagine being.
I'm wiped out after a weekend of racing.
Yeah.
And I don't do a 16th of the work that you guys do when you're actually running or working an event. So I couldn't imagine. And then on top of that, you throw a double, which essentially that's what you guys do every weekend, right? You're throwing doubles because you got 2 races. So, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't have any weather, the poor employees, their knuckles are dragging on the ground. If you do have weather, you're never going to finish the event. So it's like, it's just a tough thing all the way around. I can see why it would be a nightmare.
Or it's one of those things where you make a schedule adjustment, and it's like we said, it's maybe you might put out a schedule in the beginning of the day or the week, or was saying, hey, this is our plan, and such was, and maybe the weather changes on you. So you say, you know what, hey, we got rain coming at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock where it was. We gotta hustle, and we gotta, we're gonna go one time shot and go. And then of course everybody gets pissed off because now it's like, oh, well, I wasn't going because there wasn't 2 time shots, or you do two time shots and then you don't get done till
because then the rain comes in.
Everybody's pissed because then it's like, oh, well, we were supposed to have a big barbecue tonight and I missed the barbecue because I was, still racing. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like, where, like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, like as far as stuff goes. And, it's just, it's tough. I mean, it's definitely in a world right now where being a promoter is definitely a very tough thing. I mean, this is 2026 will be my 16th year.
Yep.
And I mean, I know that's, it's definitely a lot. And I've been helping out other promoters, trying to help them out. I help out Carla Pontello and Tony Pontello out in the Midwest. They have a Midwest Super Comp series out there, and me and Dana have been trying to help them out with they want to expand a little bit. They want to go out to Super Gas and Super Street next year, and we're trying to help them work their magic, or it was to expand their series a little bit and such. And it's a tough nut to crack. That's what I hate to say. I mean, it's even when you think you have the perfect weather and everything was, and you turn around and it's like, how did I only get 20 Super Street cars here? Like, because to be honest with you, everybody's counting pennies right now. That's what it really comes down to. Everybody's counting pennies. Gas isn't cheap. I mean, it's a tough world we live in, and such. And the unfortunate part is, maybe ACO may come back in years to come. You never know. I don't know. I mean, I don't see Englishtown coming back anytime soon, whenever it was.
Right.
But we have to face the reality that, if we want to go racing, we have to travel. And that's the sad part about things. I mean, we have to go to MIR. We have to go to Mason-Dixon. We have to go to New Media. Or with Epping or Lebanon Valley, the tows may suck, but hey, you want to go racing, you want to, you gotta do that. So
reality is, no doubt. So, what does, what, instead of that, I'll save that till the end. Let's talk about series champions.
Yep. So, as I said, it was a nail biter, pretty much all the way down in classes. So, Super Comp came in, and it actually, our Super Comp and Super Gas final rounds of Mason-Dixon were the winner take all final rounds. So, whoever won that, whoever lit the win light at the end of that run was your series champion. So it very exciting final rounds, whatever it was, come down. So our Supercom champion for the first time, actually out of the 7 classes, 6 of them are all brand new champions to us. And we have another champion, which I'm pretty sure you've heard his name before, with us. But Dave Rowe ended up winning the Supercomp champion. Dave is an awesome guy, and most people probably don't know is Dave used to be an alcohol funny car driver.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. He used to actually, the name of his dragster says Blue Chip. He used to drive a Blue Chip top alcohol funny car in IHR racing up in the Epping area. He's actually from the Epping, New Hampshire area. So,
is he related to Mark Rowe?
I think it's his dad. Or yeah.
Oh, okay, so Mark Rowe race cars.
Yeah, I think it's his dad.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dave won his first championship. I don't think he even knew he was in the talking for the win the championship, and he beat Tony Barrett in the final round. And I walked over to him, and Kathy, his wife, had their pups, and we're sitting there talking. I said, Dave, congratulations, on the win. He's, oh man, I finally got a Wally, because our last race of the year we did Wallies.
Right.
And he was so excited about getting a Wally, and I said, I got something else to tell you. And he goes, what? And I said, you're the 2025 series champion. And he started crying. And it just, it made it all kind of, all the stuff I went through in 2025 feel good, because, I've known Dave for, since he started running with us, and he was probably one of the more original guys who started running with the series when I first took it over.
Right.
And him come to where he is and have a very successful, see him go from being like a first round guy was, to now a very big time competitor. He's going to final rounds in Lucas Oil races. He's winning my events, and he's become a very big threat in Super Comp. It's awesome to see that. And, to see the emotion between him and Kathy when, they got announced as champions, it was awesome to see.
That's cool.
Super Gas, so he actually won by 5 points over Tommy Stava. Tommy actually ran with us full time this year. And then Super Gas was another winner take all final between Mike Lang and Bob Phillips, and that was separated by 1 point.
Wow.
So Mike Lang won the championship by 1 point over Bob Phillips. So that was Mike's first championship with us, and backs up off of his son Scott winning the Super Street Championship the year before.
Oh,
So
cool.
I guess we got to tell Sean that next year is got to be his year because the follow suit. So
Sure.
but like I said, it was awesome to see Mike and the whole gang win their first championship. So Super Street was some guy named Keith. I'm not sure if you know him or not.
Never heard of him. No. Is he new?
Yeah, new rookie this year. So
Rookie. That's impressive.
yes, no. Yeah, Mr. Mayers once again 9th championship with us.
Wow.
8 in Super Street and 1 in Super Gas. I think the Porsche kind of after last year, with the Alpha having so much success, the Porsche kind of said, okay, you had your fun for the year. Now it's the throne. So he had some stiff competition. Don Bergese was in second, and Mr. The handsome man Volpe was third. Frank had his chance at Mason-Dixon. He ended up drawing Keith both first rounds on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And he had his chance, and unfortunately came out in the wrong end of that. But I know Frank had probably some other things on his mind about having that 70-hour trip to Texas between him.
Yeah, right. Right.
That was awesome to see Frank. Live.
Yeah, and it's good.
I think we're all living through Frank.
Yeah, and it's good to see the wins and the championships and all that stuff kind of spread around a little bit instead of one person just getting everything.
Yeah.
You could look back on the year in Super Street and you could see a lot of people that have had better years, and it's good for the sport. It's good to see. Especially when you have someone as experienced as Keith winning a championship. Then you have the youth coming up like Frank, that's representing us in the Jegs All-Stars. And it's really cool to just see a variety of people being successful in the class.
Yep. So then we turn our attention to the junior class. And like I said, our junior program was phenomenal this year. We averaged 54 cars per event with our juniors where it was. So we paid out a good hefty amount. I mean, for the amount that they pay into the gate, and to us where it was, I mean, we paid out, I believe, over $1,000 each event at all our junior events. And
wow,
only going to grow next year. We actually sent a team to Bristol this year. We teamed up with Cecil County, and we formed the Team Cecil County Mid-Atlantic Junior Series team. So we were able to send 10 drivers as a team down to down to Bristol as part of our team, and end up coming out on top with Paul actually winning, Paul Stava winning the Race of Champions, I believe, at Bristol, or he won a gamblers race there. But then he ended up winning the Race of Champions event at the Maple Grove Division 1 junior event where it was. So it was cool to see. And then Paul ended up winning our championship. So this is his last year in juniors before he moves over into stock eliminator, and God knows what else Tommy is going to put him in. And I'm praying, and I've joked with him all the time, is that hopefully he doesn't put him in the other red Corvette. That would be great.
Yep.
Not have Paul. But Paul's a very stand-up kid. It just, I've seen him, I remember when he was in, I remember when he was just born, and see him grow up and stuff, and carries himself very, very well, and he has a good head on his shoulders. Tommy and Karen have taught him, very well. I mean, of course, he does things just like any kid does at 17, 18 years old, or it was, and stuff, but he's very respectful, and he does, carry himself very well, and Tommy and Karen should be proud for, how he's turned out. So, look forward to seeing the rest of his career in a big car now. So that's going to be kind of cool. So
yeah, again, it's I don't know if it's because we're getting older or whatever, but it's so cool to see the kids come up. And I don't know if the old guys felt about us the way we feel about the kids coming up now, but it's so cool to just see someone progress, and not just progress, just, aging out and just getting into another car, but progressing successfully. It's really cool to watch.
And that's the thing we have to do. I mean, a lot of the kids that I know that are aging out, I've talked to, and they say that they're not going to pursue a big car, and that's a big hit to the future of our sport. So we have to figure out somehow along the way in the next, however we do it, that we got to be able to get these kids into a big car. I mean, I know one kid. I mean, he doesn't run with us, but I mean, he is a killer at Maple Grove. It's Marlon Spots Jr., and I know he's going off to college to I think be an engineer or something like that.
Yep.
But he doesn't have a ride, or doesn't have a car, or doesn't. This is like his last. He won, I think, the Race of Champions at Maple Grove. God forbid if anybody ever put him into a race car and he had the success that he had in junior dragsters, the kid would be killer. I mean, he wins so much, and it's a shame not to see him, possibly move over into a bracket car or a stock super stock car or a .90 car,
Right.
going forward. But yeah, I mean, the future's bright with a lot of these kids. I mean, I know some kids are, like I said, are moving up into bigger cars, rather than bracket racing, stock super stock, .90
Yep.
racing stuff. So hopefully that's we see a little bit, our series is hopefully helping push that, for them to become,
Yeah.
Into big cars.
It's another avenue for the kids to grow.
Yeah. So top dragster was Butch Butcher. Butch was a long time ACO regular. Anybody knows Butch's story? Last year at New Media, after a final round, his brother Lenny passed away of a heart attack the next day. Butch really, it weighed on Butch, and he came out with a vengeance this year, and in top dragster, and won the championship. Won the actually talk about an emotional day. Was the day. It was 1 year to the day plus a day. So that his he ended up winning Cecil County in top dragster. So yeah, I don't think there was a dry eye in the.
No, I'm sure there wasn't.
One.
Anyone that knows them knows how tight him and his brother were. They did everything together, and yeah, that was a pretty bad deal for them.
Yeah, but Butch is he won the championship over Scott Lucan and Melissa Cox. So he'll carry that on there, and then top sportsman. It was a battle of the slow cars. If anybody knows Vince 4K Jr., he loves to stir the pot when it comes down to having a slow car and top sportsman. Yep. And John Richmond went on a tear this year. John Richmond has a 66 or 67 Nova, I think it is. He used to be a super gas racer, bracket racer at Cecil County, does some of the streetcar shootout races at Cecil, and joined my series this year. And I believe he won 3 of the 7 races, and just went on a tear this year when it come down to winning it. Vince finished second, and both cars were 5. I think John's like a 5.0 car, maybe 5.0, 5.10 car, and then Vince is like a 5.20 car. So I mean, it's not, it's Vince, like I said, likes to stir his pot when it comes down to when the slow cars and stuff. But hey, as long as the win lights come on, it's all that matters. So
right.
And then our last one was stock super stock, and that was Bubba Linky. Bubba won his first championship, of course, with us. I think he had won multiple championships in Dave Lay's series, but he beat Herbie Knoll by 1 point.
Yep.
So 2 championships that were separated by 1 point this year, and that came down to a nail biter at the end also. And Herbie had to run Larry Bunk Miller in the 3rd round. If Herbie won a championship. If Herbie lost, then it went to Bubba. And then we also had Shane Oakes was in the back there in 3rd place, who he could have done some damage to, but unfortunately he lost in I believe the semifinals of that race. But Yeah, all in all, it was a great season. We had 180 total members join us. So out of the 7 classes, which is pretty good, and I got 2 brand new members that joined up today. So
Awesome.
growing, and hopefully that's a good sign for whatever. And you know, we're already working on stuff for next year, trying to contact tracks to see what we can do, and working on the banquet, working on calendars, all that fun stuff.
Well, then what I'm going to do is the last question that I had for you. Maybe we'll hold off on what does 2026 look like, and we'll get you back on once you have a better picture of what it looks like, because you have a banquet to plan. You're waiting for a schedule. You have new people signing up. So my guess is you probably wouldn't be able to entirely answer that question right now, like you will in a couple of months.
Yeah, I like to keep things surprising. I like to keep people under wraps because I don't want everybody to know what, I have boiling in my head and stuff like that is what
Yep.
is on. So, yeah, I mean, uh, we have some things in the works. I can't really point on what we do, what we have going on. I've have some ideas that are going on. A lot of it's going to be sponsorship to see if the sponsors are willing to do something. I can tell you one of my things is I would love to have a Jegs All Star type event for the Mid Atlantic Series. I sat there all day on Thursday and Friday and watched the Jegs All Stars in Texas. And listen, we will never be as close as what they do down in Texas and stuff like
Sure.
that. It'd be awesome to do something with the Mid Atlantic Series. We used to have the top 8 shootouts for the .90 cars. Unfortunately, when Bill Phillips passed away, we lost a major sponsor with that, and we just haven't been able to recover that. So
Sure.
we have more things that works, possibly some new tracks that are, we're thinking, or at least in the works. But I said a lot of it is just having to see what the Division 1 schedule looks like, see if it coincides with being able to do things.
Yeah.
But before I go, I just want to tell thank everybody for coming out and supporting us this year. We know things are tough. We know everybody's counting pennies, and nickels and dimes and stuff to go racing, and racing is a privilege and stuff and stuff. And I know for some people Cecil's not a Cecil's not too, it's not too bad of a drive, but it's still a drive. And Mason Dix is a little bit of a drive for some people, whatever it was. But Elmer and Jake and that family do a great job with the track prep and the facility itself. We actually stayed over on Sunday night and woke up Monday and left. Me and Bubba Linky had a nice gourmet hamburger for dinner that night, or it was. And then 8 o'clock in the morning, Elmer's out there with his truck and trailer doing all the trash. So I mean, he's a hardworking guy. I mean, he bust his butt, and he just I gotta just say is give Mason Dixon a shot, give it a try. It's really not that bad of a tow. If you follow the directions I give everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do the GPS, and then they complain about GPS taking you over these hills where they lose the brakes and all this other stuff. But I just want to thank everybody, and hope if anybody can, that maybe just even if it's just one weekend or 2 weekends or all 4 or 5 weekends that we do next year, that you want to come out, get a little bit of seat time and try out the series and stuff. And trust me, you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a fun time, and you'll meet new racers that maybe don't run on the division schedule or the national event schedule that much. And like I said, it's all about meeting new friends and hanging out with them, breaking bread at the barbecues, and just having fun. That's really what it comes down to.
It's clearly, for as tight as all your points championships were, you definitely can't question the competition. That's for sure.
Yeah. And a lot of racers have told me that running my series has helped them in the NHRA division and national event stuff, because the extra 4 events or 5 events that they run with us gives them such extra time that, those extra hits at the tree, dialing in their car when they come back to, like this weekend at Cecil County for the division race. A lot of the guys can go back to some of their information that they have from my races to, dial their cars in. And that's, because anytime you go to Cecil County, the track's going to be prepped. They don't prep the track differently because, the Mid Atlantic Series there, that track is prepped, the way it's going to be this weekend at the division race. I mean, so, like I said, it's just, hey, if you got a free weekend on your hand and you got nothing going on, come down and play with us. Even you come down and play with us once in a while. Now, now I don't think you lead the state of Connecticut. So,
Yeah. If they had a racetrack in Connecticut, I wouldn't. Chris, what do you got?
One thing before you bug out on us, Rod. Jay Lawrence he commented, if all goes well, he's going to be coming back next year. They get the car wrapped up.
I've been watching the progress of the Duster of Jay, and yeah, he's been doing a great job with it, and it's going to be cool when that car comes back out. And I think I've had dinner with Jay a few times at PRI and stuff, and he's always got the wheels are always turning with Jay when it comes down to things to do with the car, EFI, all kinds of crazy things. As Jay likes to joke with me, he's a degenerate gambler, because if I will allow him to run all 7 races, all 7 classes with me, Jay would do it. So he finds ways to make sure his car is cooled down so he can round Rob and beat the crap out of his car.
Good stuff. Well, Rob, thank you very much for your time. Always awesome to hear what's going on with your very competitive series. And we look forward to getting you back on before the race season starts, so you could give us some more news about what's going on with your program.
Yep, sounds good. I appreciate you guys taking the time for me, and as always, have a fun time with you and Chris and stuff. And so once again, I thank you guys for it, and thank you to all the sponsors who helped out with the series this year. And major shout out to Roadrunner Race Fuels, Fuel Factory, and Pour 15. They were the major sponsors for .90s, Hoffman Marina, and I forget a couple. Hoffman Marina with Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, Regal's engines, Oaks Landscaping, Pete Cycle Company, Blittersdorf Automotive, PRP, the Schoenbergers, and tons of other guys who helped out with the junior program, the .90 program, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster. So, if you want to be a sponsor, come on board. You want to be a member, come on board. Visit our Facebook sites, our .90 sites and stuff. But thank you once again, guys, and looking forward to 2026.
You got it, buddy. Right, enjoy your off season. Try and get a little relaxation in before you got to hit it again.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome, Rob. Have a great night.
You too, guys. Bye.
All right, our guest of this evening from the Mid-Atlantic Super Series, Rob Keister, wrapped up all the championships and the who's and the what's and how's and so on and so forth.
And all that good stuff.
So, do you have any updates, Peter, on Lori Butler?
I could tell you that the ribs are giving her a hard time. No harder than anyone else that broke 700 ribs. But they're just very hard to get over. Right. I did talk to her and Ray a week or two ago. She's doing good. She just said the hardest part is getting over the ribs thing. Which,
right, yeah, because no matter what you do.
Right. Anyone who's ever either broken a rib or had open heart surgery will tell you that the ribs are beyond a shadow of a doubt the hardest part.
Absolutely.
But every day she says she's getting better, and we are all super, super grateful for that and happy to hear it.
Awesome. Um, Frank Volpe the third went out to Jags All Stars in Texas. Um, didn't have the race he was hoping for, but his Facebook post definitely he had a hell of a good time.
Yep. And I don't care how many win lights he did or did not turn on. He's got to know that he made his family extremely proud, and all his friends equally as proud. And I race Super Street, and if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't pick anyone else to go out and represent us. So,
Yep.
congrats to him. He got to experience something in his very young career that a lot of people could only dream about. So, hats off to him. And the scary thing about him is I'm very confident that won't be the last time that he goes out there to represent us. So,
He's just getting rolling.
yeah, keep doing what you're doing, kid, and it'll all fall into place for you.
Yep. He even said, doing the autograph session, the I don't necessarily know if you want to call it parade, but then they were riding around on golf carts, throwing hats and
Yeah.
t-shirts and stuff to the crowd. He
They get
said,
to walk
it was
up the stage and come through the doors like all the pros do when they announce them. And yeah, that's something that dreams are made of right there. And he got to do it. And like I said, I guarantee it won't be his last time doing
absolutely. All right, so I want to bounce something off you. I know I sent you a message earlier. I
it.
don't
Yep.
know if you saw it. Um, what is your take on the it's called the Hot Shots Secret Power Wheels Drag Racing Series? What do you think about the Power Wheels stuff?
I mean, I think it's cool. The issue is, I don't know logistically how it would work doing it at the racetrack.
Okay.
I mean, it's not too often that you go to a race and you see them done at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just there's already they try, and again for the financial reasons that we were talking about earlier, they essentially try and pack 10 pounds of shit in a 5 pound bag
Right.
because that's how they make money. Um, Doing that, I mean, again, like we always talk about, it's important to get the kids involved. The issue with something like that, and this could just be me totally guessing, but I don't know the legalities of it as far as like insurance or something. Having someone that young, I mean, God forbid something happens and essentially a toddler or something, someone a little older than a toddler gets hurt. That could be scary for the track. So I don't know how it would work out at a track, but I could tell you in my driveway at the shop, I already have a timing system. So something like that is cool as hell. And the earlier you could expose a kid to this madness that we do, the better off the sport will be. So
Awesome. Very cool. Um, so like I said, this is going to be the last weekend in NHRA Division One for the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series. It's at Cecil County. It'll also be the last race of 2025 for our illustrious division coordinator, Steve Rhodes. So we wanted to make sure we give Steve a shout out. He's a whole lot of fun to pick on, and
and he could dish it out
but
just
he
as much
also in the
as
same breath. What? Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
he could dish it out just as much as he takes it too.
Oh yeah, he has helped us out numerous times with stuff, information, facts, clarifications,
Right.
Information and whatnot. And definitely, it will be missed. It will make my job next year doing the guessing game a little bit harder, but it may take me an extra day or so. But we want to make sure we give Steve a shout out. So,
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I think everyone's tired of watching me yawn, so I'm going to
yep.
bed.
All right. All right, everybody. I will be back next Monday night. We got to do a special edition. We're kind of getting the band back together a little bit. Gonna have Kelly Barbado and Amanda Boychesko on as our guests. They were actually part of the very first live show that we did with the old show from Englishtown when it
Wheels
was
Up Radio.
Wheels Up Radio. That was the first interview that Pete ever did with me.
Yes. Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
when I think it was a national at ATCO, a national
I
open.
I won. Was it? I want to say it was when I won Englishtown at the Lucas Oil Race, a divisional.
Oh, it might have been. Okay.
Yeah, and then the following year, so I won the last race of the year. Then I came back the following year and won ATCO, which is this picture here.
That picture right there.
But I'm pretty sure that it was the. I'm pretty sure it was the Englishtown win that you interviewed me for. And yeah, it was very cool.
Yep. But yeah, so they were two parts of that show. Jeannie Linky helped me out a ton. I know she got married. I don't remember her new last name.
Yeah.
But she helped me out a ton getting that whole show together. And that's where I met Kelly and Amanda. And I'm looking forward to talking to them again.
Good stuff. Good luck to you next weekend with the show. And good luck to everyone going down to Cecil County to compete. Everyone stay safe, go fast. And Chris has one more thing.
Also want to give a big congratulations to Will Monroe and his wife Kylie on the birth of their young son the other day.
Yep.
So I think it was last Friday. So congratulations to Will and Kylie, and welcome to the world, Howard.
And when you think about what happened to him a couple of years ago and the recovery process, and I know that we were trying to help him out in every way that we could. Probably didn't foresee us a couple of years later congratulating him on a new baby. So it's awesome how that worked out, and that's a success story as far as I'm concerned.
Yep, they were set the date for their wedding the September of that year, and they
Yep.
were still able to keep it. So, it's been a momentous few years for Will and Kylie and the entire Monroe family. And obviously their business is hugely successful, TSR Transmissions. So congratulations to Will, Kylie, and the entire Monroe family on the new addition.
Yep, good stuff.
So,
all right, now I'm leaving.
Yeah, get out.
I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
All right, everybody. And that is how we do that. Thanks again to Rob Keister from Mid-Atlantic Super Series for being our guest. Be sure to tune in. Check us out next Monday night with Kelly Barbado and Amanda Boychesko. We'll talk to you all then.